A picture yesterday on my Instagram covering my watch list of the stocks that I was paying a lot of attention to, and I got a lot of response to it. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, this is my only Instagram account. I have 189,000 followers. All the other ones are fake, so we post some pretty funny stuff as well. But what I wanted to do today is literally just break down, the different stocks that I'm currently holding. When I post these days where I'm like up $20,000, one of the first things that I need you to take into consideration is I do have quite a bit of money invested in this larger Fidelity account. This one had a lot to do, obviously, with my holdings on AMC. I'll quickly explain why I have gotten rid of AMC. So very quickly, you guys can see right on over here. On the 4-hour time frame, again, I don't want to overcomplicate it. AMC is approaching that resistance level at $44. I spoke to the Learn Plan Profit Group. I wanted to lock in profit. It tends to experience a resistance level at $44, $44, $44. And yeah, sometimes it does push up. Well, Ricky, what if it goes to $50? Well, what if it goes back down to $35, right? Risk management is more of my concern rather than hopeful mentality. And if you've been trading enough, then you probably know exactly what I mean. But other than that, I don't care enough to really talk about AMC too much. But let me go ahead and break down the stocks that I'm currently invested in and my current holdings. So what I'm here to remind you is that this is kind of just like what I like to do and follow up with the different stocks that I'm invested in. I kind of go down my list of the different stocks, and if I want to buy more, if I want to add to my position size, if I want to reduce my position size, if I want to sell it altogether, and just sharing my thought process. In no way should you copy or just choose to invest just because I'm invested in these stocks. That's the most naive thing that you can begin to do. I like talking about and I like sharing about the stocks that I'm invested in and that I see value in, but one of the things that you need to know is that these stocks don't have to recover right now. They can take time, or ultimately they don't have to recover. So make sure you take that into consideration before trying to copy someone. So as long as I disclose that, then that's all I can really do. Roku. So one of the things that I like about Roku is how oversold it is. I don't expect anything crazy to happen with Roku, but because of how much it has sold off, I see there to be potential for a nice little reversal to the moving average. That's going to be around 11%. I'm not going to hesitate at all to lock in profits if it pushes above $300 a share. There is also the chance, based off of the 1-year chart, that ultimately can it return back to nearly $500 a share? I don't necessarily think so, but again, there is that potential opportunity. It does look oversold, but one of the biggest and most important things is that direction is not in your favor right now. So just make sure you take that into consideration before deciding to buy Roku stock. The next one's going to be PayPal. So PayPal is also oversold. It dropped due to earnings, which is where I began to aggressively or more aggressively buy into PayPal. It's been indicating signs of an uptrend. It's looking okay. I wouldn't expect much out of it as it's been making lower lows and lower highs. And watch out for that moving average, which tends to act as a resistance level on the 4-hour time frame. On the day chart, you can see that ultimately it was very bullish, very consistent. Obviously, it's just been experiencing a lot of selling pressure, and the overall direction is not in your favor. I'm okay with holding PayPal for a long period of time, and although I own a couple of shares of PayPal, I don't need it to recover right away. I'm okay with holding it due to how much I see there to be on upside margin. I would say that, yeah, it would be pretty safe for me to say that PayPal is going to recover from this. And it offers nearly 40% recovery if it were to recover. I don't need it to, but I'm okay with holding for a period of time. So next one is going to be Twitter. So Twitter on the day chart, you can see that it's very oversold based off previous lows. Previous support levels at $48. And from where we're at right now with the very common resistance level right around 65 to 67, this thing offers nearly a 30% ROI based off of a very common resistance level, not taking into consideration overall highs, which is at $80 a share, which puts it at a 54% ROI. Again, it's very oversold. It's very cheap, but cheap does not mean that you have to buy right now, as it can easily get cheaper. So let's take that into consideration. The next one is PTON. I decided to buy Peloton after it reported earnings, and I've been adding more into it. This one today was a very rewarding trade. So I really stepped on the gas as Peloton today alone gained over 15%. 5%. This is not a normal day for Peloton. It would not surprise me that tomorrow Peloton can pull back 5 or 7%, right? Giving back a lot of the margin that it gained today. Just know that Peloton has been pretty crazy based off of recent patterns. My intention is to sell somewhere around 70 to around the moving average, which tends to act as a resistance level, as you can see. But altogether, I'm pretty bullish on Peloton, and now just waiting for more confirmation of a reversal, and I'd be more happy to add more to my position. So that's for my Peloton position. The next one is Snapchat. Snapchat is a position that I recently got into, and it's because of how much it's sold off. I viewed it to be pretty cheap. I see there to be a lot of upside potential based off of current support levels. This is not something that I expect to happen anytime soon, but I'm okay with that. That's about a 35% return, and if you look into it, Snapchat actually dropped due to earnings and overall guidance. So just make sure you take that into consideration. The next one that I'm going to be talking about, I believe, is Zillow. Yeah, so Zillow right on over here. Again, very cheap, very oversold. I have a pretty light position size into Zillow. I'm waiting for confirmation of the break above EMA, and then once we have that confirmation, I'd love to add more into my position, but until then, I'm not too worried about it. I plan to be invested with about 100 to 150K into Zillow, but right now I have a much lighter position. Why? Because the direction is still not in my favor right now. The next one is going to be Upstart. Upstart is one that I recently bought into. I view it to be pretty cheap based off of previous highs, and from where we're at right now based off of previous resistance levels, that's 62%, or at the moving average, that's about 35%. So again, something that I don't expect to recover right away, but based off of overall direction, based off of previous patterns, I see there to be, again, a lot of bullish potential on Upstart, which is why I'm okay with taking somewhat of a light position on Upstart in comparison to the others. The next one's going to be Pinterest and then Kroger. So PINS. Here we go. So Pinterest also has been recovering since its lows of $43. It's approaching the moving average. We'll see if the moving average actually acts as a resistance level and or if it begins to actually break above and actually begins to indicate signs of an uptrend. The last time I traded Pinterest, we did very well, being able to write it up and sell at the highs of $65, $60 to $65. And then we waited for the sell-off. We waited for indication of a support, and then we started to add back into it. So again, a very light position size, and I'm very excited to follow up with it. So Kroger is going to be one of my last ones, and Kroger is one that I got in very, very cheap. After it reported earnings, it's been selling off. It's been, a downward spiral. I waited for it to establish a support, and then once it began to indicate signs of recovery, I bought in $5,000 increments. I haven't really added more into it as it hasn't really been showing signs of a consistent uptrend pattern. I'm still up on my position, but I'm not too worried about it because, again, direction is unclear. I don't know if it's going to go up. I don't know if it's going to go down. And why would I want to add more buying pressure or more just dollars behind a position that necessarily isn't making me money, right? So that's what I have to say about Kroger as of right now. One of the things that I want to share with you guys is one of the ones that I'm most excited about has to be either Upstart and or Peloton, just due to its recent performance. So Upstart is one that has been showing signs of recovery potential based off how much it's been consolidating, but we still don't have that confirmation. And I just like the overall ROI that it has to offer. But again, we don't have that confirmation just yet, which is why I have a pretty light position size on it. And then Peloton. Peloton had a really nice run today, so I'm excited to follow up with it to see if it actually continues to indicate signs of an uptrend, and or if it begins to pull on back, I can always go back and reduce my position size. But this is simply something that I like to do on a daily aspect. I like to follow up with the stocks that I'm invested in. I like to follow up with the stocks that are on my oversold watch list, and just it keeps me up to date with what I'm invested in, how much money I have behind each trade, and if I should make any adjustments to stay well balanced and taking market conditions into consideration. This, of course, does not include any of the trades that I take on a day-to-day. When it comes down to the series of day trades, I open them and close them all within the same day. So those are just not anything that I actually carry over onto the next day. So let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, please make sure you drop a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Again, if you guys haven't followed me on Instagram, that's going to be one of the links down in the description. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.